I received a question from you. It looks like you are a Hive member, and you submitted a question about, let me reread it. How do we help our clients who constantly feel or are scanning the environment for danger due to past trauma? They have awareness that it comes from the past, but they cannot break free of it. I think this is an amazing question, and I wrote out an answer for you, but I actually wanted to send a video response because I think it's fun and more personable that way, and I want to make sure I fully explain my answer. So I don't know what your training background is. I'm answering this question from that lack of knowledge, I guess you could say. But my two suggestions are to check out one or both of our trainings. I guess there's actually three, depending on basically what fits best for you. But I wanted to explain two of them here and why these trainings are perfect for those clients, because the way that the brain works with trauma, trauma lives in our limbic system basically, and so when you're trying to think through your prefrontal cortex and override your limbic system response, it's physically just not possible sometimes to do that, which is why I think these two interventions are so helpful and based on the research can really help essentially change the memory network within that limbic system so that the prefrontal cortex can actually override the limbic system and allow the client. Essentially, from my experience, the trauma can like hijack the client, which is how I interpret what you're asking. It's like they can't rationalize it away. So that's where these interventions come from. So the first option, this training is open to any therapist, so you could take it today if you wanted to. It's called the Acute Stress Syndrome Stabilization, also known as the ASSIST. And the ASSIST is specially designed to provide online support to people who present intense or overwhelming sensory input, body sensations, or emotions and feelings. So the objective of the ASSIST is focus on the client's nervous system, activation, regulation, essentially stabilization, through the reduction or removal of the activation produced by the somatic sensory components of the pathogenic memory to achieve optimal levels of nervous system activation. So essentially, if the client's in front of you and they're being hijacked by their trauma and they have this heightened nervous system activation because their brain thinks that they're unsafe or they're in danger all the time. So if their activation is, let's say, from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest you can imagine, 0 being none or neutral, maybe they're at like a 10 or 11 or even like a 6, 7, or 8. Like it's just high. So what the ASSIST does is it brings that activation down to a 3 or lower so that it stabilizes, it calms down their nervous system, and it allows them to not be hijacked by that activation from that trauma. And it actually works really fast. The ASSIST can be administered during the first hours or days in which the person shows severe symptoms of distress and or deterioration of current functioning. So that one, to me, the ASSIST is just like a no-brainer that every therapist should just have in their back pocket. Now, if you're EMDR trained, then you can ignore this section because this is all about EMDR. Actually, if you're EMDR trained, what I would do is check out Dr. Herrero's EMDR Therapy for Early Intervention in Ongoing Traumatic Stress. That's an amazing training. I think it should essentially be part 3 of EMDR training. So if you're already EMDR trained, I would check out that training. If you're not EMDR trained yet, then I would check out eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which is extensively researched. It's effective psychotherapy method proven to help people recover from their trauma and other distressing life experiences. So this includes PTSD, which might be what your client has if they're having that kind of reaction, anxiety, depression, and panic disorders. So part of what I was explaining before is what I'm about to read to you. But this is essentially how EMDR therapy works. So the website explains, our brains have a natural way to recover from traumatic memories and events. This process involves communication between the amygdala, the alarm system for stressful events, and the hippocampus, which assists with learning, including memories about safety and danger, and the prefrontal cortex, which analyzes and controls behavior and emotion. So all of that is what I call the limbic system. While many times traumatic experiences can be managed and resolved spontaneously, they may not be processed without help. Stress responses are part of our natural fight, flight, or freeze instincts. When distress from a disturbing event remains, the upsetting images, thoughts, and emotions may create feelings of overwhelm, of being back in that moment, or being frozen in time. So, EMDR therapy helps the brain process these memories and allows normal healing to resume. The experience is still remembered, but the fight, flight, freeze response from the original event is resolved. So that's why I would recommend EMDR therapy. I love it. We offer virtual EMDR basic training through our program, so you can find all those links in your emails. But hopefully this is helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out.